Welcome to the T-Pac Arcade. Today's game is Grindstormer for the Sega Genesis. In this 1994 shoot-'em-up from Toa Plan and Tenjin, the evil Zeta Reticuli aliens are invading Earth, and only the Terran Defense Force can stop them. Problem is, every member of the Terran Defense Force got blown to bits except for you, so, good luck, I guess. Grindstormer features 6 stages of cloud temples and psychedelic caverns and space stations full of the most heavily armored, and most heavily armed, spacecraft I've ever encountered in a shoot-'em-up. Seriously, I was starting to think all these flying doom tanks didn't just have guns, they were guns. And that's because you spend half the game staring at a screen absolutely littered with glowing bullets, which might be common in modern shooters, but it's pretty insane for the early 90s. And for me, considering how bad my reflexes are in a game where all the bad guys are constantly knitting bullet blankets to keep you nice and warm on your deathbed. Which means your only strategies for survival are expertly weaving yourself through the aforementioned bullet blankets, or trying to blow up all the enemy craft before they even get the chance to pull out their knitting needles. And Grindstormer offers you a really novel way to do that, since your standard blasters can be configured into a spread shot or a concentrated forward beam. Whenever you aren't shooting, you can nudge your ship forward to display the auxiliary cannons into a wide angle, or nudge your ship backward to assemble them ahead of you for a strong blast. And as soon as you start holding the fire button again, they lock in place. It's pretty intuitive once you get the hang of it, and you'll have to get the hang of it pretty quick, since Grindstormer likes to alternate between wide arrangements of small enemies that you can only clear with the spread shot, and big hulking bullet sponges that won't even wince unless you hammer them directly with the concentrated beam. This versatility surprisingly makes the standard cannon the most useful weapon in the game, at least most of the time. But you can also pick up search and missile power-ups that change the behavior of your satellites. As the name implies, search makes them latch onto enemies and deal damage homing style, whereas missile makes them trail behind you and shoot, lasers? Bet you thought it would make them shoot missiles, huh? Nope, that would make way too much sense. Some of the enemies have missiles though, because life's not fair and Grindstormer wants you to learn that lesson in short order. This game is brutal. The hardest 16-bit shoot-'em-up I've ever played. I had to resort to a combination of credit feeding and save stating just to get through all the levels. Save states were more ideal though, since I could maintain my power-ups and actually learn the ins and outs of each level segment. Because burning lives and credit feeding actually lets you just skip over parts of the game if you die close enough to the next checkpoint, and that doesn't feel very satisfying, even if the game was kicking my teeth in at every turn. And I was even playing on easy mode. Thank goodness for Grindstormer's configuration menu, where you can adjust difficulty and life count. The menu also gives you the option to play V5, the Japanese version of the game, which, as far as I understand, is the same thing, except you collect tokens to customize your loadout, instead of picking up specific power-ups. Which is cool, but I played the Grindstormer version because that's the American one and this is America. Also because I'm indecisive, so I'd rather let the game choose my power-ups for me. Also because it has screen-clearing bombs instead of shields, because in America, we like bombs! The visual style of Grindstormer is one of its greatest strengths. I love the refined detail in the graphics, and how the art direction balances bright, colorful enemies on muted backgrounds, or muted enemies on bright, colorful backgrounds. This game certainly isn't shy about being bright and colorful, especially when it comes to the over-the-top glowing lasers and bullets, which even have an extra aesthetic appeal to their patterns. I mean, just look at these cool red projectile strings swerving down the screen. I'd call it beautiful, if it wasn't about to kill me. And look how crazy this neon flashing final boss is. It hurts my eyes, but for some reason, I love it anyway. The sound design here is an acquired taste. The blasters and explosions and bonus chimes all sound great, but the music presents some of the harshest, tinniest chiptunes on a console known for harsh and tinny chiptunes. And maybe that's by design. Grindstormer wants your ears to bleed from the strain of listening just as much as it wants your thumbs to bleed from the strain of playing. My favorite part of this game is the level 4 boss fight against the alien jawbone spaceship thing, because it's one of those situations where beating it feels like you're doing something really cool and impressive, even though it's not actually that hard once you look past the spectacle. Sort of like when you flip a half-empty water bottle and it lands perfectly on its base. I mean, the laws of physics are disproportionately in your favor there, but it still makes you feel like you've got some crazy wizard skills or whatever. If I could change one thing here, I'd make the Stage 5 mid-boss into the Stage 6 final boss. The ultimate fight against the flashing neon dude is still really cool, but destroying that intergalactic demon head meteorite monster would have been a more fitting finale to the game if you ask me. Overall, Grindstormer has a fair claim to be my favorite shoot-'em-up on the Sega Genesis. Sure, it only reciprocates that fondness with glowing projectile death blankets and tinnitus, but I'm enamored by it all the same.